Thank you, Maka. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Let me just, before beginning, I'm going to start sharing my screen and prepare everything. Okay. Sorry. Here, once again, in another webinar. It's good to have you here. And today we're going to check correct now issues and corrections for inventory in a general way, right? So let's just begin with our explanation. In Business Central, now in the cloud, I can, for my inventory process, actually, I have different type of tools that I can use in my warehouse, basically. But the idea is that, well, occasionally companies need to adjust quantities in inventory, such as when items become damaged or expired. Adjustments of this kind are made when the fiscal inventory is counted, right? Typically at the end of the fiscal year. But most companies might need to make minor inventory adjustments, yes, sporadically, at least throughout the fiscal year, while other companies might take inventory adjustments as a regular part of their business process. So in Microsoft Dynamics 365, we can use the journals, item journal, physical inventory journals. We can reclassify to adjust our quantities properly. And that's what we're going to check today exactly. So the first exercise that I'm going to show today is how to adjust your inventory with what we call the item journal, right? You can use the item journal to post item transactions to adjust your inventory levels directly without having to post a business document such as a purchase or a sales. That as well affect inventory. All right, so let's just hit it, and I'm just going to verify my items. Today, in my demo environment, I have some small pieces hardware that I use for some projects and installations. Okay, that gives me an idea. But as well, in order to treat my items, I have some furniture. Even I could have this. Look at this beautiful Amber conference table with a lot of chairs. That's a bill of materials. You sell it completely or separated. So it's up to you. This kind of issues then are gonna require some adjustments once in a while. They are lost, they get rough, and so forth. In first place, I can see the items, the picture, and most importantly, the inventory. Okay, the inventory then, for instance, in this case is minus 150. That's not good. Something either I just sold the item, maybe I'm in the retail industry and I just had it there, nobody counted properly, but I have it. Period. Let's sell it. Okay, that's my priority. For some of you who allow negative inventory in this matter. Now, this will be the worst case scenario, a retail store where you have thousands of different units and items with different SKUs. Even the single item could have different unit of measure, pallets, kilograms, packages, boxes, and all of them with different barcodes, and etc., etc., etc. That's why I'm mentioning this, because, well, in first place, we can allow to, even though you want to sell it, okay, you can sell it, but later at the end of the month, if we are teaching this because you could affect unintentionally, of course, your accounting, because your inventory wouldn't be properly fine. And with the time, this creates, so to speak, a snowball that is going to be growing and growing and growing. So coming from the fact for you to know why do we require to do adjustments other than the, of course, physical inventory that we need to be more or less accurate, right? The first thing that we need to learn is that we have what we call the fiscal periods, okay? And I'm showing you this is very important so you can use it. So in accounting periods, we want to have, by the way, on a periodic basis, at least once a month, an alert, a report, or something that can tell me, hey, you are actually having an issue with some items. Please give this report to your warehouse manager so they start reviewing. That's fine. So that's good. So that's something that I always wanted to have. And for that to happen, please go to accounting periods. In the accounting periods, you're going to see basically, if you, and with permissions, this is mainly maybe for controllers, accountants who can actually see, and with permission, they actually see this information. Just notify them that you saw this webinar and they just need to go to the inventory period. Okay. In the inventory period that I'm showing here, right? Business Central is going to review for the actual month if I don't have issues with the inventory valuation. What is that? Well, when you have negative inventory, you have negative value. You get me? There is no negative money. Okay, well, unless you borrow money, right? But in this case, for inventory or related to inventory, we don't want to have such values, and we can see them in advance, month by month. So I'm checking current month, and this is the close inventory period test. And I don't want to have then items that either I actually, for instance, this message that item 1000, okay, this is telling me that well, with the description and the 5 pack that I currently have are negative, okay? Is basically that. And this is telling me that one of the entries is, by the way, open. I just know it because I saw the item that was negative just a moment ago, right? But what about the others? Look at this, the guest section 1 and another item that is 1965W, which is a conference bundle, has all these item ledger entries, okay? What this means when you generate a report, that somehow, maybe by accident, when you receive something, or maybe you didn't receive it even, okay, nobody noticed it, but somebody actually put away the item without notifying Business Central. That's another type of error that could happen, especially if you manage miscellaneous item with one single vendor, right? Things like that. That's why we have this report, and they mean that they are not closed. So the first thing I need to do is check these items to properly correct the process, okay? So you can download it as an example, right? Which I just can do, or print it immediately. And you can generate these reports no matter how many times you want it, maybe once a week, but I strongly recommend for you if you're the warehouse manager, once at least in a week, print this one, and it's going to help you with those type of items that are generating issues. And especially now, I'm going to talk about one restriction that you can enable. Okay, it's up to you. It's an internal policy. If you ask me, I always recommend, let's just go to inventory setup and look at this, prevent negative inventory. Okay, in my first case scenario, which is the worst, this is a store that needs to sell no matter what. Okay, but if you are not in that type of a priority or internal policy, you can prevent negative inventory using the checkbox that is here in the inventory setup. It's very easy. Just with that, Business Central is not going to basically allow you to sell items that you haven't yet record the actual inventory entry, either with a purchase or with a physical inventory and adjustments and so forth. Okay, so you get the idea. We need to review, we need to know that the values in our company are fine in each warehouse, because as well in every warehouse, we could have the same item in different warehouses, but they might have different value. That's as well possible in Business Central. Now, whenever any time I want to work, I'm going to open now the item journal for the first time to correct these negative units because I don't really want it. Okay, that's not possible. I need to verify, of course. Okay, whenever I check a negative quantity, of course, I need to go to the shelf, check what happened there. And there might be different reasons. If it's damaged, if it's not even found, if it was robbed, maybe. And we can do other things like, okay, maybe it's there, but I never received the item. I just forgot it. Brilliant. It's just an accident. Okay. But in this case, I just have seen that I never counted the item. I'm sorry, but I just sold all these quantities. So what do I do in this case? Well, the first idea is that I would open the item journal because I want to do now a positive adjustment. If I have a negative quantity, I'm just going to do basically post the opposite to allow me to then work properly, and I won't have any other type of message. Okay, so the first item, which is 1000, okay, I'm just gonna use easy numbers, not complicated at all. So it's just one item that I understood and I saw that the negative inventory was here in the main warehouse, okay? So the idea about the item journals is that you're going to control how many units you might have in any warehouse like I'm done. Plus, you can post whatever you need. We have, first of all, purchase type of transaction that is going to post a positive inventory adjustment that works as a purchase of a transaction, okay? So in this case, let's say that this item, yes, was purchased, fine, okay? But at least let's just do the correct entries, okay? So later I can see that I actually purchased the item. Well, use this, but this is an adjustment, right? This won't tell you which vendor, this won't tell you later which depth and so forth. This is just going to be for us to make an adjustment. In the opposite side, we have the sales, okay? To post negative inventory adjustment that works as a sales order transaction, okay? So for me, when I actually use this type of processes, they are just anyway adjustments, okay? Simple adjustments. It's going to go up or down because even if I select sale, this is not going to be a real one. This is not going to tell me the price if we have an agreement or policies or taxes related to whatever, right? And or maybe you import or export, okay? This is just the simple way of saying, yes, I purchased the item, is not a problem, right? Maybe I just purchased in 150 units because I just forgot to do so, right? You get it. I just saw inventory because a report told me that I'm wrong. I don't yet know the reason, but when I found out, I actually purchased the item, but in this very moment, I just want to make the adjustment as a positive because I don't even recall the vendor. The vendor is not even there. They just left. I just even sold the items. Okay, so long time ago. Let's just then do the purchase. And then we have, as you can see, these are the most, the easiest way to make the adjustment is either positive or is either negative. If I just, for instance, select any of them, for instance, negative, okay, then I'm just going to then decrease the quantity that I'm posting here. There's no necessity to input a negative sign like minus 115, okay? I just need to select here that this is going to be a negative adjustment. And basically that's it. Most often it is more important to consider at what unit cost an inventory adjustment is posted as well. That's very important. That's as well something that you need to verify. Okay, in this case, if you do a negative adjustment, at least verify your item card, okay, so you can fill the unit amount. Okay, the program in this case automatically copies the price from one of the following fields of the item. Okay, in this case, if I just open the item, this 48 unit, just for you to know, right? Whenever you do a negative adjustment, the cost is going to be, let me just show you here. Look at my item card for the first time, okay? This is the GJ, speed fit, plastic, push, okay? This is maybe for the plum. And then I have the picture and so forth, right? But the important thing here for us today is the quantity on hand, that is minus 115, okay? What I was going to tell you is that from where the unit cost is going to be taken, okay? So in my case, the last direct cost was only 2, okay? The last time I purchased the item, at least the last time, okay? Let's just actually just use this one as well, okay? So it's not an issue. And if it's going to be a sales operation as well, in the item card, we have the price and sales. From where we can, let me actually configure this empty. So if I just purchase this for 2, then I sell by 3 and 33% of profit. So if you input a positive adjustment, a negative adjustment, meaning that you'll be selling as well, or a sales transaction, you're gonna get 30% of profit, right? So let's just pay attention to what we do, and the sales adjustment is going to actually work with that. And the last one will purchase. And when we do the negative or positive adjustment, guess what? Okay, we have one special field that is not going to be actually coming, the last direct cost that I mentioned you before is coming from our vendors, okay? The last time a purchase, and basically the price is up to you. You just generate the price. Now, what happened when I do negative or positive adjustments, okay? Well, I have the field that is called unit cost, okay? Not coming from the vendor. Maybe it's because I purchased a lot of times, okay? I have increased that. Well, it's just one single purchase where the unit cost was 2. But the idea is that we're going to be purchasing a lot of times throughout any given month, and we need to make, so to speak, have at least the average value. So with the ups and downs and so forth that we have when we actually purchase, so to speak, well, actually, when we purchase, it's going to be increasing the cost no matter what, except if you do a super good agreement, right? Agreement for the following 3-4 months, then you're going to have even stabilized your cost. But we are going to then make an average, right, for the value for the actual warehouse. And in every warehouse you put this item, Business Central is going to do then the average of the cost. Now you get it. And this is good because nobody is going to tell you that. That is not, you know, like, why am I getting this or that cost? The value of this item is not okay or whatever. Well, it might be because you actually have negative inventory and then you have negative value. That's why then I need to post, now coming back, a positive adjustment, right? And if I have 150 pieces, the unit complete amount, right, will be 48. Okay, I'm sorry. The actual amount that I actually saw was 2, right? Let me just check. It's because I'm selling a box. Excuse me. I actually forgot to mention something important. Let me just go back because this will be as well as important for you as for me in this very moment. Okay, as well, this item, coming back to the item card, as well might have, for many reasons, okay, different unit of measures, okay, which was the case actually. My cost was not correct. I thought that it was not correct because when I was checking the cost for $2 is just 1, right? But okay, as well I have another unit of measure that is 24. So guess what is going to happen? Your box is going to cost, well, 48, okay? So twice as the quantities that we have, okay, 24 pieces per 2, which is the sales price, the actual cost, well, is going to be 48, okay, nothing else. Then as well, it's good to comment from the item card because here we have as well the adjust inventory, okay? So you can open the item and immediately verify, okay, how many in which warehouses I have this item as well, because you need to know it before doing the adjustment. Okay, is in the main warehouse. Look at this, okay? And this is, well, 100, okay, pieces. This is the original transaction, okay? So that's one way of seeing things. It's not a problem, but, well, the idea for today is just verify the item journal, okay? So we need to understand that we can adjust, and simple as that. This is how then we're going to do it. Either it's going to be positive or negative. You decide. You need to input your location, then 150 units, but I'm going to select the pieces, okay? With this, I can say, okay, everything will be fine. And unless you have discounts or something, okay, it's not going to be a problem. For now, I have reviewed everything I need, the unit of measure, the cost, the units, etc. So the last thing to do for us, if you want it now, is just maybe you're going to need to print, okay? If needed, if you want to have the evidence, as well, we have handhelds, okay, that allow us to do this process, not only here in Business Central. And another plus that you can do is just, by the way, change your view, okay? If you open Business Central in a tablet, that's as well possible for us, okay? And when I just actually verify how the view is, this is because I want to maybe take the tablet, go on site, not stay in my office if I'm, I don't know, the warehouse manager or something, right? And here, I'm gonna get another view where you can use now your fingers, so to speak. If I just let me just do some navigation so you can see how the screen looks now. It's just full screen in your tablet. So it's sometimes easier for me to work with my fingers, by the way. And we have a as well Android client that help us to actually work with our smartphone, but I don't recommend it for inventory. There's a lot of detail to see in a small screen, so to speak. But look at this. Just what I want to see is just, for instance, the vendors, the items. You can start navigating, and this is more easy for me to use with my fingers once again. Okay, so you can see how they slice, okay, through the screen to the right, to the left, and you can just do exactly what I'm just doing. So this is now the view that you can use. You can do exactly what you're doing. Connect even a scanner, a simple one with generic USB into your tablet, and you can actually start counting if you are actually having a barcode, so to speak. All right, this is then, but that's another way. And the last one will be a real handheld where we just install an Android app for you. The handheld is much better than a smartphone or a tablet or even this client in my actual Chrome browser, because if you want to speed up your process, the actual handhelds are basically designed for that, and they are super fast, more faster than any other device that you can find, and we can help you with that just to see if you require that type of devices. Otherwise, just use a simple scanner connected to a tablet. Okay, now coming to the item journal. Okay, what I want to do is just increase the quantity with the positive adjustment, and you just need to come and post and print so you can get and save your own report. And then the journal lines were successfully posted. Once we get it, then the idea is that we just going to see our items once again, and then this is going to be fine. As long as my item is 0, is not going to be a problem, okay? So continue then and do then later another purchase and sale, and this won't be anymore reported by your accountant in the first report that I mentioned to you. Now, sometimes another type of issue that I might have by the report that I saw is that there are entries that I sold that I never purchased, okay? I just never did it, okay? Or maybe let's say that you sometimes you receive from specific vendors, right, the new branded items, but you have not purchased them. They are just gifts, okay? Then use your item journal, right? It's not going to be a problem to then, well, create your items and do a positive adjustment, and voila, you're going to be able to sell those items without having to create a purchase orders. Okay, now there's another type of document. Now let's just make it better. Let's say that I want to decrease now another item. Okay, so Amber conference table. Okay, then I have 10 units here from what I have seen. And then how do we decrease these units? Let me just check the quantity on hand. If I just check that, Business Central is going to give you the full detail of every purchase receipt that you have had by number, because whenever we purchase, we create the purchase, we send it to the vendor, but we in our warehouse, every time we do a receipt, we have a document number, okay? And look at this, 6 units were received on a specific date in March and so forth, right? All the actual units that you have received and purchased later will be then sold. And look at this remaining quantity. Out of the 6 that I have purchased, 6 are not even sold. Okay, that's fine. Only cost. That's fine. I like it. But anyway, I have realized, and by the way, in this history, I have purchases and I have the sales. So there's no way you can fail here. You can check your history. We just check by document number, right? Here we have the shipment document number. for a sales process, we have all these shipments. And guess what? So we get rid of our understanding in Business Central, they are negative, okay? So I have sold these units, okay? Very, very good. Now, what I wanted to show now is that in this case, we are working as well. How do we link our sales and purchase? Because I want to know that, and you're gonna need to know that later, okay? First of all, I have received units and I have sold units, as you have seen. But guess what? There are some purchases, like let's make an example, okay? In this occasion, in this month, in 21st, in 10th of October 2021, last year, I received 4 units, okay? But here I have the remaining quantity, which is 0. Why I have not enough quantity there? Because this was already sold. From the purchases that you see, to make the correct lecture, we do the FIFO, and we first consume all the purchases that we have. The inventory we received in 2021 was already sold. Then we gonna go with another layer, month by month, day by day, year by year, to then continue selling all the purchases that we have, okay? You can see here that I have received here 6 units in this receipt, but I only have 4 available to sell, 6 and 4, okay? And this is FIFO, okay? That's why then, when I come back, I can see that I have 10 units only. This is my physical inventory, okay? Real. So we are understanding now the lectures that we must do, where is our historical data, where are our documents, shipments, and receipts. Very easy to then understand how you can investigate. Now it's up to you. Now you need to go to the warehouse, ask with the vendor, or whatever was the reason for you to make an adjustment. I always recommend you please check what happened. If not, that as well is something that is going to happen. You have items that nevertheless your vendor came 2 months ago, your items are still there, but you have differences. Well, there's no way to contact the vendor for 1 or 2 units to clarify what happened if they tell you that they have sent everything, so to speak. Okay, so now coming back, the item, it has only 10 units currently, but somehow I can as well do similar adjustments when I want to actually do it with inventory documents, okay? Yes, I want to make a positive or negative adjustment to this item or any other one. But besides using the item journal to adjust inventory, you can also use the following documents. There are inventory receipts. This is the first one. Actually do exactly the same. Inventory receipts, look at this. And as well, we have inventory shipments, okay? That is they are going to then post a sales, okay? The idea is that you create these documents, the inventory, shipment, and receipt, by entering information. I'm going to show you on the document, and you can post it, well, but this is going to create a posted inventory receipt or in posted shipment, like I showed you before. This means that they have a process flow like other documents like sales and purchase invoice. They also share functions like printing, release it to the warehouse, reopen, and assign dimensions. Let's just work with one of them so you can see how far we can go. They are just going to help me to actually input more information when it's required. Let me just show you an example on one scenario as well. So I'm going to show my inventory receipts, okay? I'm just going to look at this receipt, and I'm just going to click on new. Now you might ask if you have WMS, but no, separated from my purchase orders, I have a document that is called reception, okay? And this is for more advanced warehousing. In the basic flavor of our warehouse, you do everything in one single document, which is your purchase order, correct? That's for the most basic. Many of you might have at least one basic warehouse if you work with items. Now, the receipt that is here, first of all, is going to give me a receipt number and a description, okay? Then you can use this inventory for a specific location, okay, but that they are not WMS. They are just for basic warehouse, okay? And then I'm just going to select the location. Let's say main warehouse. The main warehouse for me is a very easy flavor of warehousing, okay? It's the most basic one, okay? And what is this? Let me show you first my location card. What is the basic warehouse in comparison that now that we are learning, okay? I show you and I mentioned first that in the basic warehouse, what we do is we just have like a black box, okay, where we have all our items there. But what happened if we require more advanced functionality? We might have zones, shelves, bins, right? For that, we create another type of warehouse that we design for you. Plus, whenever we create such a warehouse with reception area, with a stocking area, quality even, and shipment at least, right? Then we are going to require to do some checks. We are going to separate from the purchase one single document for the person that is in the reception area. So we just mark it, okay? Another one for who's going to be in the shipment area that are going to then verify only their information regarding to inventory, okay? We separate receive and shipment and other ones because the warehouse clerk doesn't care, for instance, if we are going to receive something, okay? That's coming from a purchase or transfer or return, okay, from a customer, but mainly for a purchase order, so to speak. 90% of the receptions we receive are gonna mainly come from replenishing, right, from purchase or transfer. Now, the idea here is that this location has no separation, okay? They are not checkmarked to manage more documents. Basically, that's the idea. Even for picking, we can create one picking a document so you can select, okay, items from specific bins, okay? So you can see that is more like advanced. For now, basic is just a black box, and I'm coming back to my inventory receipt. With the basic warehouse, I can use this inventory receipt, so to speak, where I'm just going to input my item. Any item is good for now. And then the reception will be for 10 more units. Very well. And the unit amount, okay? In this case, you decide the reception. In this case, so to speak, I can even increase the cost, okay? Now, the formulation is that I have entered the location, but I'm just going to need what we call the general product group. What are you simulating to have here? Where you have purchased this, okay? And here we are gonna see the type of vendors that we have. So in this case, it's just domestic. A domestic purchase, an item that is local, okay? And I'm just going to receive it. If necessary, you can even input an external document. Okay, this was in relation to the external document, which is I receive, I don't know, some samples, no, something like that, okay? Or a correction of a purchase order where you are going to receive more, something like that. But the reception here, okay, is, so to speak, like a correction, okay? For better purposes, do a real purchase order, okay, where you have the actual cost, the discounts, the agreement with the vendors, and so forth. This is only to generate a simple reception without having to go through the entire process, okay? And this is going to make, guess what? A positive adjustments, okay? But as well, let me just show you. Here we use the concept of dimensions where we can say, okay, this purchase was done for the administration department, okay, or for something like that. You decide which dimensions you use, okay? So that's fine. So for me, once again, this is a correction, okay? This is a corrective entry in this case to do actually this information. We just can, so to speak, tie it, okay, or link it to an already received document, okay? So once again, we coming from a purchase orders, please verify our supply chain webinars. We have a lot of purchase orders there, and we can adjust those purchases later, okay, with this reception process, and it's not going to be a problem for us. But for now, okay, the status is open. and then I'm just going to send it then to the actual warehouse clerk, okay? By just clicking on release, I'm notifying my warehouse clerk, please receive these units. I have them there in the warehouse, okay? The reason is maybe that I have even just received this as an adjustment from a previous reception that I did 1 month ago, but I just found these new units and just updated. Correct your purchases, correct them, and I encourage you to actually do so. Or otherwise, you're going to need to make further type of processes like a corrective credit memos, which is in the end as well fine. But here we are saying that from the actual origin, we are just doing so, okay? Not a correction specifically, but actually just making an adjustment. And yes, there's a difference, right? There's a difference. An adjustment because then later, you could create other transactions that affect even debt with a vendor if you create another purchase and you need to correct it, okay? So that's why we need to make this type of adjustments. Nothing else. The actual exercise is very easy to do. And in the other part, we have as well, just for you to remember, the inventory shipments, okay? Where you can simulate and post a actual shipment that you need to adjust. Maybe you already did it, the item is not anymore in your warehouse, maybe it was last week or something like that. Look for inventory shipments, okay, and post it, okay? Click on new, then select one single posting description, okay? This is allocation code for main, okay, and the general is for domestic sale, external document number, correction for a last shipment, okay? Long document number, but you get it there, and then you're gonna then select your item, the quantity, and I'm going to expose you to something that I'm going to use very oftenly from now on whenever I do any type of adjustment. In all the documents that you are seeing in this webinar, we are going to use the actual reason code that is going to be like this. Let's just go and click the reason codes. Let's find it. Even you can look for or search for them. Reason codes. Okay. So as you can see, it's quite easy to then navigate. You can do it like in a browser, right? Like in internet, look for anything. Let's say customers, okay? As an example, I have here my customers. I can look for it immediately. No, I want a report, but I don't really remember the name of the actual a report. Or why not inventory? Okay, let's just check what type of inventory reports are going to be there for me. Okay, look at these labels. That's fine, okay? A physical inventory, something that we are going to see today, actually. Analysis of my inventory and by views, okay, that looks interesting. And software, right? Just with a keyword, you're going to be able to do so. So coming back to the functionality. When I do adjustments, specifically, I'm going to need most of the time what we call reason codes, okay? So this could be the stolen item. As well could be for shipments, wrong, okay? Maybe I sent, by the way, a wrong item accidentally, okay? So please, and I really encourage you to use these reason codes for your audit purposes, because we have the reports that give us these statistics, okay? So I, once again, strongly recommend you to at least add these two. Something was stolen, or I delivered the wrong item. Another one could be that you found a new item that was just magically there, okay? It's not a problem. You select which ones you might be most of the time using, okay? So in this case, even could be just adjustment. Okay, this was just a general adjustment, no reason for that, just a single adjustment, or maybe it's just broken, just giving you ideas, okay, and things like that. Okay, so in this case, the reason codes will be now very oftenly used for me for my audit processes that I'm actually, when I do corrections, I'm gonna need to have, okay? So this might this, I'm making an adjustment because I did a wrong shipment at any given point. I don't even know, but I as well, I can input are responsible for any sales. So Jim Olive sold this, she told me, and I'm going to put her as a salesperson because she told me to do so, okay? Not necessarily to have all this information. It's just a negative or positive adjustment, but this gives me more, okay? This type of document is going to give me more reference of why am I doing any correction like this, okay? So that's it. You just post it, and this is going to then, if it's going to be an inventory shipment, guess what? It's going to decrease your inventory, right? And that's exactly what is going to happen with your physical quantity in the end. It's going to start moving and moving all the time, okay? Okay, very well. So to speak, the idea, let me just show you what has happened behind the scene. Business Central is going to give you all the transactions that you have posted at any given moment, right? But guess what? Here I have my positive and negative adjustments. Okay, very good. So we have purchase, we have regular sales that we are going to see in our movements for your, like here, I have the average cost calculation overview, but you're going to be able to see what type of entries you have, okay? Positive, positive, negative, negative is not a problem for me, but you tell me why, and then you're gonna be able to look at the original entries when you see any movement in your history to actually review the actual entries or transactions or why something happened. So that's the idea, okay? That will be the idea. Even I have here that I have the document number IR002, which is an inventory receipt that somebody did, okay? And this is as well, look at this, a positive adjustment, okay? In the main warehouse and blah, 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 everything that we have just basically done, okay? But in this case, as well, if you want, then the idea is that you need to look at the find entries function. Okay, and here you're going to be able to see information for any given adjustment and even things about like a GL accounts or things like that. Well, it's not a problem. Maybe we are in the warehouse part, but it's just there, okay? And it's not going to be a problem if I just take a look or something with GL accounts I have affected, or if somebody asks me, okay? Then I can see that for some reason, I use my inventory account, okay, and the opposite is the cost of materials, okay, or debit credit, okay, basically. I'm offsetting the inventory against the cost, okay. Everything has a value, okay, basically, it's my inventory account and my cost account. Nothing else to say, actually, this is just a clause, just informative. You don't have to actually learn all of this. For today, I just strongly recommend you to use the reason codes for your adjustment, know where to find the item card, know that we have all the historical information, and that will be for today's webinar. Okay, now let's go and continue. At some point, there are things that I need to complete, right? Let me just change my company, where I'm going to need to count at least twice a month or well, at least once a year, that's for sure. But so to speak, as well, I'm just going to need to do cycle counts or how the system manages that information, okay? And it's going to be very, very easy. Let me just change to one of my companies where I have more examples. But we are just going to basically do physical inventory, okay? And the idea is that occasionally at the end of the fiscal year, as a minimum, okay, the items are physically in the company or in the warehouses. They must be counted to check if the quantity that is registered in the program agrees with the actual inventory quantity. If differences occur, they must be posted, okay, but to the actual items. Now, to assist in taking a physical inventory, Business Central provides its own version, okay, of physical inventory. Please just let's take a look. I'm gonna start searching in my webinars. I actually do so for everything, so you can see that you just need to remember the basic keywords, okay? So the physical inventory is just there. I have orders, counting periods that you can review, and inventory journals, okay? Let's just go with the basic, the physical inventory journal. Okay, taking a physical inventory involves several steps actually, but they are very easy to follow up. We are going to fill first this form, okay, with calculated inventory, okay. We are going to ask, first of all, Business Central, how many units have you calculated that I should have in each warehouse, okay? This is the first step. And then this is as well what we call, well, the expected inventory, basically, okay? For that to happen, please click on Prepare. It's just one single step and everything will be done automatically. Even though the physical real count is quite complex, okay, the calculate inventory function is going to do everything for us, okay? So I'm just going to do the count number 1 or team A document, okay? So to speak, I'm going to start working. Now, items not on inventory, I don't want it. Items include items without transactions, I don't want it. If I don't have purchase or sell the item, I don't care. Okay, but now most importantly, I have a location filter where I can just, for instance, decide, okay, I have plenty of different warehouses. Okay, here I have more warehouses, and even as a bonus, I can show you which is basic, which is WMS, and how do we operate. So you can get an insight that later we're going to have a WMS a webinar, okay? But here I have the East, the Main, the North. Here as well, I have outsourced logistic or in-transit warehouses, virtual warehouses that locate the inventory for us. And yes, we can count the inventory that is in the trucks or in transit, basically, okay? And this is these 2 warehouses that I have. Then I have the actual truck, a store as well, everything, every single place where I have an item, okay? Basically, I'm just going to count for one warehouse at a time. And as well, if necessary, for WMS, we have bins that we need to count sometimes one by one. For us as well, if you want, we can filter item by item, or most importantly, we need to define, and we have categories in our in our database. And the most important thing, okay, sorry for that, for the noise. And then the idea is that, let me just find where is the category or division. Okay, division code. Okay, division is a way I actually make categories of my item. It's the first level, so to speak, food, non-food, or something like that, right? But we have then a second level that we call the item category. Here is item category ID. This is very useful for me when I count, because most of the time, I would say, I would, in my hardware store, I have electronics, laptops, elbows, coppers, and so forth, okay? So you decide if you want to do so this way, but most importantly for us is just the date, okay? Filter by warehouse, and then you decide if you want to filter by items or any other field. For instance, sometimes you have costing methods, 5 for life, or by country, origin of region code. I don't know if you are important. Just giving ideas and ideas. The function is really simple. One single click to calculate inventory. Input my filters where I want to count or start counting. This is the annual count, and I'm just going to click on OK. With this, the idea is that, well, I'm just going to get the expected inventory that I have, okay? And all this explanation was just to see the first step. Just prepare and calculate your inventory. Then you're going to get the following. All the lines here are related to the document team A, and all the items in this warehouse suddenly appear, which is the different item numbers that I have. Very easy to remember, 1,000 and consecutive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Main warehouse and the quantity calculated, okay? In this case, for instance, one of my items has 15 and another was 115, okay? So it's not a problem if you want to as well rearrange them, okay? In the quantity calculated, look at this. I have click on the text and this has like Excel sort from the largest to the smallest or vice versa, it's up to you. That's very handy for me. And then look at this, minus 305. I need to review that later, all right? And so forth. But the idea is that, most importantly for me, the quantity calculated field gives me how many units with the purchase, sales, adjustments that everybody's doing in my company, I should have. In this case, for Coca-Cola, this is, well, I also have food in this demo. Well, I have all these units. Now, the second step is once you have done this, the quantity calculated provided that by Business Central is the quantity calculated. And we have a second column that we call the physical inventory. So here you're going to input your real units, and this field is the only one that is just editable regarding the quantities, because I'm going to say, for instance, that in this case, I have more units, okay? So originally Business Central told me that there were only 4,090, but I have more. I just found it, okay? Just count them. So just change this, okay? But in the real world, more than only showing you how we use these fields, is that in first place, what we need to do is just come and print the actual report and give it to your warehouse clerk. This can show the quantity calculated, or if you want to do a blind count, please never mark this for your warehouse clerk. Just print the report like it is, okay? And serial lot numbers. When we do physical counts, we as well follow serial numbers and lot numbers, okay? Because sometimes we cannot sell items that maybe have expired, so to speak. So here, the warehouse clerk in the same form is going to input manually. Listen, standard Business Central comes with this function with the physical inventory and printed report like this. So your warehouse clerk input the quantities he has counted. Otherwise, if you don't like this, well, we send the information. So actually, I will never recommend this if you have a very big warehouse to do the physical count with just one single sheet report. We use a scanner, use your tablets, okay? That's gonna be as well fine, okay, for counting. And if it's more complex, your warehouse strongly recommend, we have a specific warehouse, a handheld functionality that doesn't require listen. Even though you don't have the WMS that is so famous that somebody uses and install it and configure. Okay, nowadays with the new technology that we have, we don't require to have these so complex configurations to start working with big warehouses. And if you want to have a handheld, because it's so useful that I'm just going to now count, and this screen will be in the handheld. Maybe not with this same design, but with the item, with the description, with the warehouse, with the quantity they need to count, and do it with your handheld and with while you scan the barcodes. So we have the two flavors. Standard comes with the report, plus if you want it, we can, and I'm going to show you later as well how the handheld looks like as well. And it's very useful even if you don't have the WMS, okay? But that would be the idea. This is the second step. The third step is just basically give me your quantities, and I'm going to show you now. I'm going to input 2 lines only that I will be counting for today. And then when I actually verify what type of adjustment, remember that the physical count is going to update for me the inventory that I have according to what I have counted in the real world. And then just to mention, then what is going to happen is that if I post a quantity that is then less than what Business Central calculated, then I'm going to post a negative adjustment. If it's all the way around, then, and I'm going to post more units, okay, than Business Central currently has, then it's going to just immediately post positive adjustments, okay? The other ones are just zero, so they don't have inventory. This is a very small database, so it's not a problem. But the only thing that you're gonna need to do in the end, when you finalize your physical count, okay, but you need then to as well, if you use handhelds, they are just automatically updated. You don't have to worry, and they can post it from the handheld. And from here, I just need to click on post. Remember that as well, this is going to be helping me to update my inventory as well. Oh, look at this. Sometimes you're gonna need to assign to some items, then a lot number, okay? That's then another type of process that I explained you in my 3 webinars ago, like 3 weeks ago, how to work with lots with serial numbers, which is as well a requirement in if you use that in combination with this type of a process, okay? So just to finalize, let me once again, what was the item number that was shown? 1029. Okay. So looking at here, you can look and draw and go down using your mouse, or if you're using the tablet, go to the 1029 page, right? Or as well, you can use our filters. Okay, if you already know the item, you can just use the function filter. Similarly, once again to Excel, filter one single item. Please filter item 1029. Okay. And then I'm just gonna get this only, okay? Because we are gonna need now to prepare it. And for me, just to mention it, what I want to have is just look for the lot number, okay? Once again, we already showed this a while ago, but this lot number, okay, when I purchase it, okay, currently I actually purchased the lot number 4 that currently has 900 kilograms of peaches because I follow the expiration date. So I'm bringing this to the webinar because if you manage this type of processes, this is where you're going to find and where you need to input, so you can properly count your items with or without serial or lot numbers. It's just a secondary window where we have the possible input of a serial number. In this case, a peach doesn't require that, but yeah, the lot number is the batch of the items that I purchased once, and all of them have the same expiration date. So by the way, maybe I'm not going to be able to sell this item, but I'm just going to need to do, remember, a negative adjustment because this was expired in April. And this is because I'm working within a demo environment. So this was already rotten there, you know, by this day. So that will be it. The idea is that we're doing a negative adjustment for a peach, okay, coming from a physical inventory journal that I needed to count it, all right, and in the end, just add to in which lot number actually you are using to do this type of adjustments, okay? So everything is now good. Now, just to verify, to finalize with this simple example of the peach, when you actually work with this type of serial or lot numbers for your adjustments, I'm going to come back to my items and I'm just going to verify the item 1029 once again. Here is now, look at this, I don't have 900 kilograms anymore, okay? So I'm moving. So here I have the peach and so forth, and I have the quantity on hand as well, where you can see where it is located and so forth, right? It's no problem, okay? And somebody counted a negative inventory, okay? Look at this. Somebody did that for me. The team A counted a negative adjustment. Look at this, minus 100, okay? That's fine. That's what I wanted in first place, but as well, I would then later need to remember do a negative adjustment because I cannot sell the item. It was already the expiration date was not found there. Okay, so now if I want to see as well, I can check the, let me see, it's an availability by location, okay, by level or even lot. Okay, this is the second thing you need to do. When you work with lots, then I need to review by warehouse, then I can click on location, and you're going to see two reports that will be important for you. Then I'm going to see the net change for this month, right? And I currently in the main warehouse, I hired these units, okay, which is currently my projected available balance, because later I could continue to purchase, and I could have scheduled receipt. So when we verify anytime any warehouse, we don't see only the physical quantity, but how many units I expect to receive, okay? And the date, very important. The other one, now that you know in which warehouse you are, if you are expecting to receive more units and blah, blah, blah. Then the other stuff related to my tracking codes, which is my lot number, this is telling me the lot number 4 currently has 800 units, okay, for one specific date, okay? And you can even select in which location, maybe this actually, this lot was split, okay? But you need to follow by lot number, how many units, okay, we are doing. That's why your physical and your adjustment in your physical count was exactly that information, okay? Now, just to mention, let me just give you one idea. As well, we have other type of, so to speak, count, but we call it cycle counts, okay? What happened with my with my cycle count in first place? Well, let me just go and move a little to another type of system, which is with more advanced warehousing, with beans, with zones, and things like that, okay? We are about to finish. Please, if you can give me 10 more minutes, okay? Or if you have questions, please let me know meanwhile, because this might be interesting sometimes for the different levels of warehousing. Okay, but in any case, when I just actually work within Business Central, you can actually do the physical inventory. Let me just do the inventory journal, but not only for the entire warehouse like I have just done, okay? But in this case, I'm sometimes going to need to process a, let me see, where is it? Here is, I believe, 1 second. Because what I want to check is one journal specialized. Here it is. Okay. Maybe it's not enabled in this demo environment. 1 second. Here is. Okay. The thing is that Business Central is going to help you to count for you your items, okay, or to suggest you what you need to count. With the items, it's just very, very simple. How do we do work with cycle count? First, we do the physical inventory counting periods. So I'm just going to create a new one, which will be the runner, an item that is super fast for me. It always sells, let's say Coca-Cola, I don't know, right? So you can get the idea. And this needs to be counted, I don't know, it's super important for me, then 12 times a year, okay? Count frequency per year is gonna tell me how many times, and it's just going to be dividing Business Central, that is going to tell me to count the Coca-Cola item every month. Okay, every month, which is not going to be actually in the real world. Actually, just wanted to show you how I configure one from scratch. But I would normally say, okay, slow items only are being counted once a year. Normal items at least twice, and fast items, okay, 6 times a year, okay, which is every 2 months, okay. This is then how then we work to then in our items just select exactly that, right? Which type of a periodicity we are going to need for any given item. Let me see. And whenever I want to actually exactly use those functions, I'm just going to need then to select, let me see, milk bottle, okay, milk in a supermarket, okay? And let's say that I actually have a content that I need to count. I have my containers, and I'm pretty much specialized in a lot of different varieties of milk and so forth, okay? So I always gonna need to have a physical inventory count to be set up for this item. So this is going to be fast for me, okay? And when I actually just say, this is going to be a fast item, it's going to tell you immediately where you're going to need to count any given item, okay? It's going to tell you that. And in the previous journal, the physical journal, Business Central is going to include those items, yes or yes, that need to be counted on any given date. So this is telling me, okay, this item, okay, needs to be counted, yes or yes, on this specific date as an example, okay? Next counting start date. And that item, yes or yes, is going to come in your physical inventory journal, because you're going to need to count it, suggested by Business Central, because this item is so important for me, okay? And that will be more or less the idea of the physical count, except without the handheld, okay? Because I will use it then for other type of operations, so to speak. Now, what happened? The last exercise that I'm going to show is what we call the reclassification journal. Okay, this is maybe the easiest one to use, but for this as well, in the end, is item reclassification journal. Okay, the idea is that in this example, I only recommend to use the reclassification journal only by managers that are going to be then in charge of posting transactions. For instance, if you have received something in one warehouse, but accidentally I receive it in the purchase, or when I was making adjustments in another warehouse, okay? Accidentally, I need to change the warehouse. I need to change the cost or other operations, okay? So let's just verify. I'm going to do my first reclass, which is the reclass 01, and I'm going to select one item, okay? This item is blocked to make adjustments, okay? Let me select one item that has inventory, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. This one. Okay, but so to speak, the idea is that I have this item, okay, and it's currently in my main warehouse, but I could say, no, this is an issue. This was not part of the main warehouse. I need to change it maybe to the East warehouse, okay? So I'm going to change the location where it's currently located, but it was just an informational error, not operational. The items are in the current warehouse where they actually belong, okay? Which is the East warehouse. They were already received there, okay? But accidentally, when I was just receiving them, I just received them in the main warehouse. So it's not a problem. Open the reclassification journal, select your wrong and your correct destination in terms of the warehouse, okay? And as well, this is going to give us another type of option. Let me see, this item doesn't have items, physical quantities, but the idea is that here for our reclassification journal, I'm going to be able to change a lot of information that was already registered. That will be basically the idea. Information that was already registered, right, is going to be appearing for me, right, in Business Central is part of my history, historical information as well that I can just review, okay? But in this place, reclassification from one warehouse to the other would be one option. The other one would be if you want, for instance, if you are using dimensions, maybe I have a department code and I say, okay, yes, I'm going to then update, but the department who actually required this item was not administration like I did before. It was maintenance. Maintenance required this item, no administration. Okay, so it was then administration, right? So to speak, here is administration. Okay, now change it to the new department code, which would be then the maintenance department. Okay, so as you can see, we are changing information about some units that were already inputted in Business Central. Okay, for us, then it will be super important to then start working with the reclassification so you can make the last corrections that will be required. From here, as well, you can use the reason codes, the dimensions, the tracking lines with lot numbers. You can change the lot number of the pitch if the lot number 4 was not correct at all. Okay, I think this field is not here. I need to show you the example just to finalize. For those of you who work with serial or lot numbers as well, they might be as well incorrect sometimes, okay? So as well, we might be able to change the lot numbers, it's not a problem. Now, the thing is that I want to input the reason code, very important. Never forget that. And as well, if you work within WMS, add your bin code so you can change the bin, because we can say, okay, I say that an item was in one specific bin code, but I would need to change it to another, maybe in the same warehouse, but another bin code. That's another very important scenario. Okay, sometimes you commit or you have errors with the cost as well. That will be important to mention. Yes, I received the items, but I need to change because the wrong cost was already recorded when I received the document. Okay, it's not a problem. Please just add the unit cost. Maybe it was 2, the real unit cost was 3. Okay, it was for the maintenance department and it should be in the East warehouse. So you see a different type of examples of what could be a reclassification. And in the end, the item tracking lines once again help me. Okay. Oh, this one doesn't have, excuse me, the lot number. Okay. Then, okay, different type of adjustments that you can do. But in this example, we have, let me just show you another reason codes that will be only for this matter. Okay. Then this was wrong reception. As an example, wrong reception. Okay, showing you that we have different reason codes like for different purposes. And when you want to reclassify, you are not going to tell, I give the wrong item to another customer. No. These are other reason codes, work exactly the same. They are audit reason codes for me for later reports, but these are only for reclassification, okay? So I have intercompany transactions, wrong receptions, or wrong warehouse, wrong shipment, or wrong dimension, okay? Wrong department, or just WDEP, okay? Just wrong department. Okay, so I don't want to then confuse you with, I know this is a lot of information that we have seen. The main idea of the reclassification is very easy. We are just going to correct entries that were done in Business Central before, okay? But the process here was received in another warehouse with wrong cost, wrong information, and even you can change the unit of measure if necessary. But this item only has 1 unit of measure. Okay, not a problem. But once you reclassify, this is going to have the same units, okay? Same units, same cost maybe, but at least just change the information, and information is as well possible with the reclassification journal, okay? So all these processes will be there for me to adjust my inventory, to look at this, prevent negative inventory. Okay, so well, I have prevented my company to have negative entries or to change. Okay, it's not a problem. But here, by posting these entries, let me see if I can even do it for another item or something at least. So the idea is that you, in the end, you are just going to, maybe let me give you a bonus. This is telling me that I cannot reclassify any item here. In this case, this item specifically, sorry, because this is already blocked, okay? So it's not a problem. You can unblock your items. Actually, I don't know why I never included this topic, because we are doing adjustments, right? And let me show you, you can block your items, and that's a reality. So I'm just opening the item card, okay? So the idea is that you can come into your item and look at this blockade. If you don't want anybody to move your entries, your quantities, maybe for a specific count, okay, for a specific moment, okay, I don't want this to be adjusted or anything, please then block it, okay? And then here you're going to be exactly having the same issue that I had. You cannot touch this item at all because it's currently blocked for the usage for whatever it is, okay? And this record will be then prevented to be posted like in my example. That as well is good to have it now that we are doing adjustment. That's going to be super important for some of you, for some items at any given moment, right? So it's not a problem. Then one is just unblock, okay? Our only process that we just need to do is that we're gonna need to complete it by posting the transaction, okay? Now, the actual process is not gonna be complicated. You're just going to need to post it and voila, okay? Then you're gonna complete the reclassification. There's not enough quantity of inventory, sorry. I would need to post a positive adjustment if I want inventory. But remember that I adjusted a few moments ago. Okay, so sorry for that. No more time, but it's just about posting, and the entries will be then changed for us, and everything is like brand new, but with the actual adjustment of the information. And thank you very much then for your assistance. Once again, all of you who are following our weekly webinars, we are having more and more people. If you have any doubt, please let me know. If you have doubts about how your warehouse process is not a problem. Please just as well, if you want to. Well, you saw already that we have more webinars, but in the Optimus.guru page, you're going to be able to see calendar if you're interested in our trainings. And as well, if you want to see something that will be really important for you and your company, please let me know. My email is noe.wellman@optimus.guru. Send emails. I always do, by the way, my webinars with your ideas, unless I have new technology to show. In the near future, I will be working with warehousing processes in Business Central, and I have been requested to work with WMS lately, now that we have moved and showed the basics, right? And later, as a bonus, I'm going to show you how you can work with handhelds if you're going to need it, either if you are working with basic, medium, or advanced warehouse. Okay, so now that will be it for today. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave you, and I hope all of you to have a great week, and see you next time.